Okay, today we are reviewing the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Junction backpack. This is a new pack from HMG. It kind of fits in the line alongside the Wind Rider, the Southwest, and the North Rim. In this review, I'll tell you all about the differences between these packs and which of these packs is going to be the right one for you if you're looking at this style of backpack. Main things about the Junction are that it weighs 2 pounds, it's constructed with Dyneema composite fabrics, and it has 3 external pockets on the main pack bag and then 2 external pockets on the hip belt. So it gives you quite a bit of options for organizing your gear. It has a roll top closure, bonded seams, so it's a virtually waterproof backpack, which is great for days like this. So this is your typical 3-pocket through hiking pack. We have a large mesh pocket on the rear and 2 hardline solid fabric pockets on the sides. The solid fabric pockets are really nice for storing pokey items. On this side I have, as you can see, the shaft of my ice axe and some tent poles. And these pockets are a little more durable than the mesh, which is nice for forested bushwhacking in terrain like this because the mesh tends to snag and rip out. But I still like the mesh rear pocket because that gives me a place for wet gear storage and bulkier items. In addition, we have 2 zippered hip belt pockets. I've got about 1,000 calories stored on that side and another 500 or 600 on the other side. So this is great for storing my snacks for a full day of trekking. The pack has the classic Hyperlite roll top closure with a Y strap. I've got my crampons up here right now, but the strap is plenty long enough to secure a bear canister or an extra bag of food or something else that's really bulky that you don't want to put inside your pack. Okay, here's what the pack looks like empty. As you can see, the 3400 model has a very tall extension collar. The extension collar is secured with a Velcro tab there, and then you can roll that down and secure the ends of the collar as part of the compression system with a side release buckle. Let's take a look inside the pack. You can see the 2 black frame stay sleeves as well as a mesh bladder sleeve. Now for those of you that do use a bladder, the hydration tube can exit out of a port that's secured by hook and loop closure there, sewn into the side panel on the right side there. There's a close-up of the seam. All of the internal seams on the pack are bonded with waterproofing tape. So you've got a sewn and then bonded construction that makes for good durability and almost perfect waterproofing. There's the frame stays. They are removable if you like, save you 1.5 ounces or so, and they're secured with a hook and loop closure over the webbing sleeve inside the interior of the pack. Okay, let's go through how I pack my gear in a pack like this with this pocket configuration. First things first, I have my sleeping gear inside an Osprey straitjacket stow bag, and this is a compression sack. So in here is my sleeping bag, long underwear, pair of sleeping socks, and my pillow. That's going to go in the very bottom of the pack. Next, I have my inflatable sleeping pad, which is simply folded to approximate the shape of the cross section of the pack bag. And I'm going to lay that down right on top of the sleeping bag sack. I have the inflation bag for my sleeping bag, and I use this towards the end to just kind of fill in any gaps that form as a result of packing a bunch of lumpy stuff in the backpack. Next up is my food bag. I do have my snacks for the day out, so I will keep those separate right now. This is an Ursack, and I generally have it packed so that it's about the width of the backpack as well. Next up is my essentials bag of things that I will use in camp. It includes my weather and environmental data monitoring kit. It includes my first aid, repair, and med kit, a fire starting kit, and my toiletries. So these items get put inside a zip bag and placed inside the pack there. The next thing that goes in is my cook kit. I'm not going to need this on the trail, so it can go deeper in my pack. Now, if you look at how I pack those two things in, I packed them so that they're side by side with each other because they're about as long as the width of the pack. Next thing that goes in is my tent body. I'm packing for a wet first day today. It's raining all day today, so I want this near the top of my pack, and I want to be able to pull it out of my pack without getting everything else wet. So basically I have this folded into a rectangle that's approximately the shape of the cross section of the pack. And I found a gap in packing that, so now I'm going to use that sleeping pad inflation bag to fill that gap. And that gap is right down there along the side. And the final two things I'm going to put inside my pack are the remainder of my storm clothing. Right now I'm wearing my rain jacket. I'm going to stow my wind shirt on the outside. This sack contains my warm hat, gloves, rain pants, and a buff. And then the other piece of gear that I would like near the top, I don't always keep this near the top, but it's a synthetic puffy. And the reason I want it near the top today is because it's cold, and I can imagine stopping at a rest stop on my hike and needing to put this on so I don't get chilled. The other reason is that it's a synthetic puffy, and I don't want to cram it deep inside my pack where it could damage the insulation. Now those last two things are soft. And I like putting soft goods at the top of my pack because it just helps with compression and making sure the pack is packed really nice. So now I will secure the roll top and roll it down. Now, as you saw when I put the food bag in, it wasn't stuffed much. I have 3 days of food in there. I could easily fit 7 to 10 days of food in this pack with the extended roll top with the gear kit that I'm using right now. Now, the next thing I'm gonna secure are my crampons. I want those at the top of my pack. I wanna be able to have quick access to my crampons to put them on and off throughout the day as conditions warrant. I'll put the spikes upward and secure that Y strap over the top of the crampons. Secure the buckle and pull it tight. Now, before I attach the roll top buckles, I'm going to put the stuff in the side pockets. Now, one of the side pockets, I'm going to put my tent stakes and my tent poles. And that way, both of those two things are handy, and all I need to do is retrieve the fly from near the top of the main pack bag to pitch my tent. Now, the other thing that's going to go in this side pocket is my ice axe. And I will slide the shaft in there, tuck the strap in so it's not hanging out. Now, at this point, I can secure this side strap as part of the compression system and to keep the ice axe shaft and the tent poles in place. Nice and tight there. And then I will snug the lower strap just enough to keep the pocket contents secure. Now, in the other side pocket, I have a fanny pack that contains some of the things I use throughout the day. So in here, we're in mosquito season, so I have my head net, my insect repellent, I have my headlamp, some sunscreen, and an Aqua Myra kit. I do take a small fanny pack because I like to carry it around camp. It contains extra camera batteries, this kind of stuff, my fire starter, maybe a few snacks. Make sure all the hip belt straps are tucked into place. And then finally, I'm going to put my wind shirt in that pocket. It's probably my most used piece of clothing, so I like it on the outside of my pack. And secure that side strap and snug up the lower side strap. Now, at this point, we're ready to secure the roll top buckles. I do these last because I'm more likely to access the contents from the roll top, and I want these roll top buckles and straps to be outside these side straps right here. Now we're to the rear mesh pocket. This is my wet storage pocket. For today, I'm gonna keep my rain gear in here when it's not raining, but I also have a full load of 3 liters of water. So that'll slide in there. I have my water filtration bottle, my toilet paper kit, and my wag bag. I'm going to center that water bottle so that the weight is evenly distributed. And we're ready for the very last step, which is to put my trail snacks into each of the hip belt pockets. With dense foods, I think you can fit about 2,000 calories worth of food into these pockets, which is plenty for most days. And it's nice to have a good bunch of calories at your disposal without having to dig inside your pack. Okay, so that's how I packed the Hyperlite Mountain Gear Junction 3400. I've got about 30 pounds on this right now. Again, because I have some mountaineering gear, 3 liters of water, a weather station, and a fully enclosed tent. This pack suspension is extremely simple. There is a foam back pad, 2 vertical aluminum stays that connect the top of the shoulder straps down to the base of the hip belt. We've got foam and spacer mesh for the shoulder straps, similar foam and spacer mesh for the hip belt, and a lightly padded foam lumbar pad. Other than that, no other suspension. Like I said, the pack weighs 2 pounds, so it's fairly minimalist in nature. We'll talk about how this suspension deals with loads over 30 pounds in a little bit. This top strap also forms part of the pack's overall compression system. We've got this Y strap that comes in from the top of the shoulder straps and secures right above the rear pocket. We've got this roll top closure with 2 side compression buckles. We have a side compression strap over the base of the rear pocket, and we have another that's angled down from near the top of the shoulder strap down to the seam joining the rear and the side pockets. We've got 1 ice axe loop at the bottom center of the pack. It's going to be hard to attach an ice axe when that rear pocket is full, but there are 2 slider buckles on each seam between the rear pocket and the side pocket, and you can thread straps through here to attach gear if you like. And this would be a viable way to put an ice axe here when you have a full rear pocket. Also great storage for trekking poles or a camera tripod, or maybe for carrying a tent vertically. There is a bar-tacked daisy chain loop here that can be used to secure the shaft of the ice axe when it is in the ice axe loop and this pocket isn't so full. And the last 2 features we have are a grab loop and a sternum strap that slides up and down for adjustment. This is your classic elastic self-tensioning construction. And of course, there's an orange buckle whistle on the end of the strap. We have a couple of bar-tack daisy chains up the shoulder straps. I use them here to secure my Garmin inReach. I have a small Velcro strap that secures the inReach to one of the daisy chain loops. The pack is made with a body of DCF 50 and a bottom rand of DCF 150, just like the Wind Rider and Southwest. This pack is almost identical to the Southwest. The only difference is that the Junction has a mesh pocket for the rear pocket and the Southwest uses the hardline. This pack is also very similar to the Wind Rider in that the Wind Rider uses mesh on both the side pockets and the Junction uses the hardline fabric on the side pockets. This pack is also similar to the Hyperlite Mountain Gear North Rim. The difference is that the North Rim has full Dyneema hip belt pockets, full Dyneema side pockets, and a full Dyneema rear pocket. The North Rim is the pack you want if durability is your primary concern, especially if you're scrambling around in the sandstone canyons of the desert Southwest, or maybe doing some alpine scrambling above the tree line in limestone or granite mountains. Now the design thought behind this is that the side pockets are going to be more prone to abrasion and snagging, especially when you're bushwhacking. So having hardline for the side, but retaining the mesh pocket for gear storage seems to provide a good balance for most hikers. Now I have the size large in the 3400 model. It weighs 32.8 ounces on my scale. That 3400 indicates the volume of the main pack bag with the extended roll top collar. So that's 3,400 cubic inches. You can add about 300 cubic inches for that mesh pocket, 150 cubic inches each for the side pockets, about 55 cubic inches each for the hip belt pockets, and that gives you a total pack volume of about 4,100 cubic inches or 66 liters. Let's talk about water resistance a little bit. I've used Hyperlite mountain gear packs for almost 10 years now. This DCH 50 and that DCH 150 on the bottom, in combination with the bonded seams inside and the roll top closure, make this pack virtually waterproof. In addition, all of these materials absorb very little water. This pack absorbs less than 2 ounces of water after immersing it in a bathtub and then letting it drip dry for a few minutes. A couple more ounces of water are absorbed into the foam areas of the shoulder straps, the hip belt, and the lumbar pad. But all in all, if you look at the total water that can be absorbed by this pack, it's only about 10 to 12% of the total pack weight. Some packs that have more foams, more mesh, and materials that absorb more water can absorb as much as 50% of their weight. So to get that down to 10 or 12% is really nice for wet weather backpacking and pack rafting and things like that. Now, if you go to the review of Backpacking Light, you will see my load carrying analysis of this backpack. I did some suspension tests. Hyperlite Mountain Gear claims that this pack can carry 40 pounds. I don't think that's its comfort rating. I believe its comfort rating is closer to 30. Now, because the pack doesn't have any load lifter straps, and the fact that the frame ends right at the top of the strap instead of rising above like in a traditional backpack construction, this pack's not going to carry weight as well as something that has a taller frame. In addition, as you add weight to this pack, this frame is going to collapse a bit. And if the torso length of this pack collapses to something less than your torso length, you're going to start feeling discomfort. All this data is in the product review at backpackinglight.com. I'll link it up here and you can check that out for yourselves. But again, I think the comfortable load carrying capacity of this pack is about 30 pounds, and anything above 40, you're going to start feeling some significant discomfort. Because of the minimalist suspension and the way this frame is designed, you might consider sizing up one torso size. That will give you some latitude if you expect to carry loads greater than 30 pounds in the Junction. And I have to admit, I think the Junction all but replaces most situations where you'd want the Southwest or the Wind Rider. Having the durable side pockets for bushwhacking in combination with a mesh pocket for wet gear storage is probably the most versatile combination for most hikers. The introduction of the Junction will probably decrease the market for the Southwest and the Wind Rider. I think this pack is the best balance of both of those worlds. So to me, Hyperlite has two very solid packs in the Junction and the North Rim. And then if you think you need the Southwest or the Wind Rider, to me, those are much more specialized backpacks. The Wind Rider might be perfect for trail hiking and through hiking, and the Southwest might be appropriate if you're really doing some serious bushwhacking, but you don't need the durability of the North Rim's full Dyneema pockets. Okay, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this review. If you think this review would be valuable to somebody else, please hit the like button. That will help people searching for information about this pack find this video. Second, if you're finding value of the content we're posting on this channel, please consider becoming a subscriber. And finally, help us keep this channel advertising free by becoming a Backpacking Light member. I'll put a link up there and down in the video description. Your membership fees help us minimize advertising. I'm Ryan Jordan with Backpacking Light. Thanks for watching, everybody.